Hello, my name is Tyler Cordts, and I would like to speak to you about the high attrition rate of special education teachers. Um, my entire teaching career, I've been devoted to special education, and I'm always trying to find a way to better my classroom and better my students. But each year I've taught, in 3 years, I've noticed that there's been an extremely high turnover of staff. Um, and with this, it's very tough on special education students. More than anyone, they are the students in your schools that need structure and people that know them and their routines and what they can and cannot handle. And with that high turnover, these kids are not getting the help that they need and are having to begin brand new every single year. Um, it is my goal to look at the reasons why the attrition rate of teachers is so high so that I can avoid those factors myself to ensure that I'm staying in the classroom and doing all I can for each of my students every day, but also to help my colleagues that I work with in and day out and helping them to continue on and helping them to avoid those factors that are causing others to leave. Uh, like I mentioned earlier, it's in the best interest of the special education students because they are so rigid in their ways, and people need to know their routines and what they can and cannot do. And each year that they get a new teacher, that teacher is having to learn these kids all over again, and the kids are having to learn that teacher all over again. And it's just not the best situation for anybody, especially when you could have a teacher in there that has known them, had them for several years, knows everything about them, and not starting from scratch. Purpose. The purpose of this study is to learn what are the reasons behind special education teachers leaving only after a few years. Some questions that might come about and be answered in this study would be, is there a common reason that special education teachers are leaving the classroom? Is there one or two main reasons that really drive them out? Also, is it the school themselves and the policies that drive teachers away? Just individual schools that are doing it? Is it not a problem seen everywhere else? Could the vast amount of challenges of high needs students be too much for the teachers? A lot of caseloads have varied kids. You have very different disabilities and levels, and that could be very challenging for a teacher. Is that a cause? Also, with budget cases getting higher, that means more for a special education teacher. Are they tired of the high caseloads? Is that what's driving them out, being buried under all the paperwork? Also, another thing in recent years is the emphasis on students passing the state assessments. Is it the pressure that are put on these students and these teachers to pass the assessments that's driving them out of the classroom? These are all things that we can look at and have answered possibly within this research. My literature map here, looking at the high turnover rate of special education teachers, has been broken down into 4 main categories: stress and burnout, understaffed, low payment, and alien and isolation of teachers. Along with stress and burnout, the subtopics there would be high caseloads, paperwork, dealing with others, parents, other teachers, staff, the children, and also the time that it takes to work with them. Understaffed, we have the subtopics of undertrained, not enough college faculty, and not enough graduating. We have highly qualified teachers and people teaching out of the area, transferring out, teachers that are leaving special education to go to another classroom or another job, and also overworked. Are they just being overworked from being understaffed? Low pay is in its own category, which most educators are very familiar with. And also lastly, alienation and isolation has the subtopic lack of support. Are teachers just thrown in with the wolves and expected to know what to do all the time? Do they flounder because they feel like they have lack of support? All these are the different topics and subtopics that will be looked at. Here are my resources that I've used on the next couple slides. I use a lot of different journals, such as the Journal of Special Education, Exceptional Children, and also some books and other things as we went along. I have the High School Journal, Claremont Letter there, Special Education Quarterly, and lastly here are some more of my references. Data collection. In order to do this research project, I will be selecting a pool of teachers that have left the special education room within the last 4 years. So people that were special education teachers at some time in the last 4 years would be the candidates for this study. And the way I will get a hold of them is through their former districts and cooperatives. So I would get a hold of local school districts and cooperatives to talk to them about people that have left the special education room over the last 4 years. I would use a survey design in this project, the reasons behind leaving and the circumstances surrounding the departure of the classroom would be what the survey is about. All the questions would be centered around those two topics and getting to why they left. Okay. Also, in order to maintain confidentiality, all data will be in a locked cabinet and destroyed 1 year following completion of the publication of the research. That way this stuff is not getting out, no one will be seeing it besides those involved with the study, and it will be held completely confidential. A few facts that I came across while doing my lit review that I think really drive home the importance of this topic I'd like to share with you. First, is within the first 3 years of teaching special education, 29% of beginning teachers are projected to leave the classroom. 29% will leave within 3 years. And more astonishingly, 39% will leave within the first 5 years. So nearly 40% of all special education teachers are gone within the first 5 years. Very high numbers. Also, staggering fact here, 11.4% of special education teachers lack proper certification. So more than 1 in 10 special education teachers in our schools today does not have the proper certification that they need to be teaching that class. Also, 18% of first-time teachers in special education were trained as general education teachers. So they came in with a history background, a math background, and that's what they learned. That's what they practiced and student taught in, not special education. Nearly 18% of all of them did that. Also, 57% of those they studied that were either leaving their job in special education or considered leaving their job in special education claimed it was due to high caseloads, which is really becoming an issue lately due to budget cuts. Okay, data analysis of this project. The data will be broken down quantitatively. The information will then be charted and recorded precisely. Each reason that a teacher gives for why they left the classroom and went somewhere else or got a different job will be classified as its own category, so it can be easily read and understood. All right. To ensure validity, which is one of the most important things of all research, if it's not valid, it's no good. So I will make sure I have a large pool of candidates from all over the country, because I can't just talk to a few to figure out why so many are leaving. Also, information will be reviewed on multiple occasions. The studies will be reviewed and reviewed and reviewed to ensure that all the correct information has come from those that can be. Also, we'll have an external audit of the study before releasing the final report by someone familiar with research and the topic and what's going on to ensure that everything is caught that needs to be and everything is in place. Also, once again, all personal information, as with everything in special education, will be held completely confidential. No one outside the project will have any personal information. Ethically, participants will sign a participation agreement and waiver that I've already created to ensure that they know and agree to be in this project. Also, participants will not be forced under any means to discuss anything that they do not feel is a fair question or can bring up undesired feelings towards that job that they once had. So no one will be forced to answer anything that they do not feel comfortable talking about. There are a few limitations, possible limitations, having the participants from the same areas or schools and not receiving information from other states or districts. So having a big clump of teachers, say in Kansas, but nobody in a few surrounding states, and then another big clump in, say, Texas, wouldn't give us the overall information that we need. So we'll be sure to have a large pool of candidates from all over to help make sure that does not happen. Also, with any sort of project and research like this, dealing with people and why they might have left their jobs, there's going to be a lot of bias and feelings that come into play here. So those could also limit this project. Lastly, future studies. Information from this study will be very important, and it may lead to possibly another study that I feel is just as important, and the second step in this of how to keep teachers in special education. This whole project would deal with why they left, and then could help spur how to keep them. So that is my proposal. I thank you for watching.